Ladies and gentlemen, this was supposed to be their moment. This was supposed to be the Epstein file drop that finally nailed Donald Trump. That was the plan. But instead, what happened next shattered the entire narrative, because when those files hit, when the photos dropped, the internet didn't see Trump panic. They saw Bill Clinton. That's right, shirtless photos, private settings, redacted faces, Epstein's world, not Trump's. And suddenly, the smear collapsed in real time. The same Democrats who spent years whispering, implying, and pushing innuendo about Trump woke up to a nightmare of their own making. Because this release didn't bury Trump. This exposed Clinton, and it exposed him in all the wrong ways. And not in theory, not in speculation, in black and white, in images, in records that they can't spin away. Even voices on CNN started saying what everyone else could already see. This wasn't the Epstein files anymore. This was now the Clinton files. And so here's the part that they didn't count on, folks. The more they tried to explain it away, the worse it got. The more they tried to redirect, the harder they tried to spin this thing, the harder the boomerang hit. Because once people saw the contrast, Trump's public encounters versus Clinton's private access, the entire narrative exploded. Clinton got hit with a boomerang on the butt on that one. Matter of fact, let me get a quick poll from you guys. Drop a Clinton down below if you think Clinton was more involved with Epstein, or drop a Trump down below if you think Trump was more involved with Epstein. I'd love to hear from you guys. Well, tonight we're going to go ahead and walk through how a coordinated political hit turned into a historic backfire, how Democrats just lost control of this entire story, and why this moment may finally close the book on one of the most dishonest smear campaigns in modern American politics. Buckle up, folks, because this one didn't just fail. This one blew up in their faces. Hit the like button. Make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. All right, let's go ahead and start with the setup here, because none of this happened by accident, all right? For weeks leading up to the Epstein document release, Democrats and their media allies, they were priming the audience, teasing, hinting, whispering that this was the moment, that once these files dropped, Trump would finally be cornered. I mean, you heard the language: bombshell, reckoning, long-awaited truth. They were dusting off the same playbook that they used for years, insinuating without evidence, repetition without proof, and the timing mattered. This wasn't random transparency. It was framed as a political event, rolled out to maximize damage, hoping headlines would do the work for them before anyone had time to actually read the material. Now, that assumption was simple. Trump's name had been mentioned near Epstein before, so of course the public would likely connect the dots that they were never shown. Now, here's the fatal flaw. They overplayed their hand. They expected outrage directed at Trump, but instead they triggered scrutiny that they couldn't control. You see, guys, this is when people actually looked at the files. Then they realized that the story that they were promised wasn't the story that appeared. That's when everything started to unravel. Now, let me show you where this went sideways for them, all right? So when the documents finally dropped, something happened that Democrats were not prepared for. The internet didn't react emotionally. No, the internet reacted visually. Within hours, guys, the focus wasn't on Trump at all. The focus was now on Bill Clinton. You see, photos began circulating. Shirtless, private meetings, redacted faces, not headlines, not speculation, images. And once images take over a narrative, spin becomes almost impossible. People weren't asking, what did Trump do? They were asking, why is Bill Clinton everywhere in these files? So this is the nightmare scenario for narrative managers, because this wasn't a slow drip. It was immediate. Social media locked onto the visuals, commentators scrambled. The talking points didn't land because they weren't designed for this outcome. The expectation was outrage aimed outward. What they actually got was scrutiny aimed inward. And the most damaging part, there was no clean explanation ready. No coordinated response, just silence, because what followed was defensive minimization. That's when the public realized something was wrong. This release didn't ignite a scandal against Trump. It rerouted the spotlight straight back to the Clintons. Now, what we're talking about tonight is really about hidden consequences, things that look fine on the surface up until they're not. One of our viewers reached out to me recently and he said he needed an MRI. He said he did everything right. He checked his Medicare plan. It said that the scan was covered, and he was right. The scan was covered. But what he didn't know, what no one warned him about, was the facility fee. The scan was covered, but the billing wasn't. The surprise bill, almost $600. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be all that happy to find an unexpected $600 bill hit my mailbox. I'm just saying. And so this is the kind of silent trap that's hitting people when they're already stressed out. They're already dealing with health issues. They're already assuming that the system has their back. This is exactly why I partner with Chapter, folks. Chapter helps you to understand the fine print before it costs you, and they do it completely for free. It's unreal what they're doing over there. They're working miracles. They walk you through your Medicare coverage in plain English, so you don't have to have a PhD in Medicare lingo. And it also makes sure that you're not blindsided when it matters most. Now, most people, they're already looking at the screen. They're dialing the phone number right down below, 909-563-8279. Or better yet, you can click the link that I left for you down below in the description of this video so you can get your own peace of mind and clarity. All right, so let's get back to it, because once you see what happens next in these Epstein files, the fallout, it only gets bigger from here. I promise you that. So now let's talk about why these photos hit so hard. Because it's not just that they exist, it's what they imply. I mean, these weren't red carpet shots. These weren't crowded fundraisers. These weren't wide angle photos with dozens of people in the frame. These were images that were clearly private, intimate settings, Epstein's jet, a hot tub. Dude, a freaking hot tub, guys. Look, closed environments where access is controlled and witnesses are limited. And we are talking about Bill Clinton here. You're not gonna be just some random showing up in Bill Clinton's vicinity. I'm just saying. Then came the detail that detonated everything. It was the redactions. So under DOJ rules, faces can only be redacted if the individual is a minor or a victim, not powerful adults, not politicians, not public figures, and not friends. I forgot my air quotes. Anyway, that single fact flipped public perception overnight, because all of a sudden people weren't asking who leaked the photos. They're now asking why those faces had to be hidden at all, right? Isn't that the real question? So this is when scrutiny locked on to Bill Clinton, not because of a rumor, not because of politics, but because the rules themselves told the story. Democrats tried to wave it away as old news. Yeah, sure. But old news doesn't come with new redactions. Old news doesn't force the DOJ to hide identities. And once people understood that, the narrative was gone. And that, my friends, that's when the media really lost control. And so every political scandal has a moment where spin stops working. This was that moment, because when even voices on CNN, including Scott Jennings, started saying out loud what this was no longer about Trump, the dam broke. When Scott Jennings saying out loud that this is not about Trump anymore, they lost it. When the phrase "the Clinton files" entered mainstream discussion, it wasn't a partisan jab anymore. It was an admission that the story had changed. That matters more than the people realize. Look, legacy media survives on narrative containment. So as long as they can frame, contextualize, and redirect, damage stays manageable. But once commentators acknowledge what viewers are already seeing, credibility collapses in real time. And that's exactly what happened here. No amount of pivoting could erase the visuals. No Chiron could rewrite what people already processed. The audience didn't need to be convinced. They already connected the dots themselves. So this wasn't conservative media driving the shift. This was reality overpowering messaging. And once that happens, Democrats lose their most important asset, control. So this is when the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. What Democrats wanted the public to believe was that Trump and Epstein were somehow operating in the same orbit. But when you strip away the insinuations and you look at the evidence, the difference is stark. Trump's appearances with Epstein are public. Group photos, open events, Mar-a-Lago gatherings with dozens of witnesses, cameras everywhere, and there's no secrecy. There's no private emails, there's no private travel, there's no closed door access, and most importantly, there's no accusers. Heck, probably even more importantly than that, there ain't no hot tub involved. So now, if we contrast that with Bill Clinton, whole different story. You got private jets, international flights, closed meetings, Epstein's plane, Epstein circle, environments where access is clearly restricted and accountability disappears. That distinction matters politically, legally, and morally. This isn't spin, it's categorization. So one side interacted with Epstein in public spaces where misconduct would have been visible and documented. You already know who I'm talking about. The other side operated in Epstein's private world where power shields behavior. You already know who I'm talking about here. So this is why the smear collapsed. Once people saw the difference between association and access, the Trump narrative couldn't survive. The facts didn't bend. They snapped the story in half. And folks, this leads directly to the moment that changed everything. By the way, if you know someone who needs to hear the truth, make sure you share this video with them. So here's the detail Democrats never want to talk about because it ruins the entire frame. Donald Trump cut Epstein off. Don't get it twisted. When Trump became aware of Epstein's behavior, Epstein was removed from Mar-a-Lago. The Joker got banned. You can't come back here no more. Get out of here, Epstein. Done. No quiet distancing. No continued access, no private loyalty, just a clean break. Go ahead and snap that off. That matters, legally and morally. People don't sever ties with someone that they're protecting. They don't eject someone that they're complicit with. They don't go burn bridges unless something is wrong. Trump did exactly what you would expect someone to do once lines were crossed. Yet for years, this particular fact was minimized. It was ignored. It was dismissed as being irrelevant. Now, with the Epstein files exposed and Clinton's access under scrutiny, that decision looks prophetic. Trump didn't panic when the files dropped because there's nothing to hide. The panic came from the people who never cut ties, who stayed close, who stayed quiet, and who assumed that the story would never fully surface. They were wrong. Now, this is where the story stops being abstract and it starts getting a little uncomfortable because the timelines, they don't care about politics. Flight logs, they show Bill Clinton traveling on Epstein's private jet multiple times in the early 2000s. Not once, not twice, repeated international trips. Different countries, different dates. And again, these weren't commercial flights. These weren't public appearances. These were movements inside of Epstein's private ecosystem. That matters. When the newly released photos surfaced, they didn't exist in a vacuum. They locked into an existing record. Images plus flight data plus witness testimony form a triangle that's very hard to dismiss. And once the public starts lining up the dots, explanations start sounding thin. The Clinton team wants this framed as ancient history, but history doesn't resurface unless something triggers it. The trigger here was transparency, forced transparency, and it reopened questions that were never properly answered. This is why the pressure is building now, not because of politics, because the record is finally visible. And then, of course, there's the detail that made even neutral observers recoil. Yeah, so this is the moment where elite excuses collapse under common sense. Anybody ever heard the name Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah, Epstein's closest associate, attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding years after Epstein had already been indicted and convicted. Really? You don't say. Not before, not after, long after the world knew who Epstein was. That's not a technicality, folks. That is an optics disaster because average Americans don't need legal theory to understand what just happened. They understand the instincts. They understand boundaries, judgment. They don't invite someone who's tied to a convicted predator into the most personal family milestone unless that person is still fully inside your world. Political insiders, they try to dismiss this as social overlap, but voters see something else. They see a closed elite circle that plays by different rules. And when that detail resurfaces alongside new Epstein images and flight records, it changes the tone entirely. This stops being about rumor and starts being about culture. A culture of access, protection, and silence. This is why this revelation hits so hard. It confirms what people already suspected. This is where the moral ground completely collapsed. Because while Democrats were busy trying to weaponize the Epstein files for political gain, the actual survivors, they had had enough. Multiple Epstein victims privately confronted Democratic lawmakers, telling them point blank, stop using us. Stop selectively leaking. Stop turning our trauma into campaign material. That moment right there, it should have stopped everything if they had morals, but instead it exposed something far worse. Survivors said that the releases weren't about justice, they were about timing. It was about headlines, about hurting Trump. And then when certain victims came forward and said that they never saw Donald Trump engage in illegal behavior, Democrats suddenly lost interest in them together. I wonder why that happened. That's not advocacy, folks. That's exploitation. This reveals a brutal truth. The same party that claims to defend victims only elevates them when their stories are useful. If their stories are not useful, well, they're discarded silently, they're silenced, and they're ignored. So once that accusation came from the victims themselves, Democrats lost the moral high ground permanently. I mean, you can't posture as protectors. Meanwhile, you're being accused of manipulation by the same people you claim to represent. And once that happened, the entire Trump smear collapsed. Now, at this point, the pattern became impossible to deny. This followed the exact same arc as Russia collusion. Years of insinuation, endless media repetition, anonymous sourcing, zero proof, and then total reversal. With Epstein, Democrats assumed proximity was enough, that mentioning Trump's name alongside Epstein would do damage for them. But once the files dropped, once the photos appeared, once the records were examined, the accusation machine ran out of fuel. There were no secret meetings. There were no private flights, no emails, no victims accusing Trump, just noise. And when that noise cleared, the accusations collapsed inward. And they collapsed onto the very people who pushed them the hardest. Clinton, his network, his access, Clinton's history. This wasn't spin failing. This was reality asserting itself. The Epstein release didn't resurrect a Trump scandal, it buried one permanently, and it did so by exposing how reckless and dishonest the smear had always been. This is where the story stops being theoretical and it starts becoming consequential, because now the pressure is real. Public credibility is gone, media protection has cracked, and transparency only happened for one reason. President Donald J. Trump forced it. These files didn't surface because institutions suddenly grew a conscience. They surfaced because the law required it. And the people who assumed that they were untouchable are discovering that they're not. Bill Clinton is no longer insulated by silence. His name isn't being whispered, it's being examined. The photos exist, the records exist, the questions are multiplying, and for the first time in years, they're being asked without narrative cover. This isn't about revenge, it's about accountability. It's about whether power still guarantees protection in America, or whether even the most connected figures can be scrutinized under the same rules as everybody else. Democrats tried to weaponize Epstein to destroy Donald Trump, but instead they detonated their own credibility. And once the public sees that kind of panic, that kind of scrambling, they never forget it. The truth didn't just come out, it forced the door open. So I want to hear from you guys. If you're watching the show right now, did this Epstein release expose who was really protected all along? Did it finally collapse one of the longest running smears in modern politics? Drop your thoughts down below. Hit the like button, subscribe. Stay locked in, guys, because the days of sealed files and silent elites are ending. We'll see you next time. Be safe.